Welcome, guys. Welcome, guys. You can share the video. You can all please share the video. Very soon our guest Ousman will be here. Our today conversation is going to be very, 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 very deep. Because today I have our professor. I call him a professor, Ousman Touray. I think Ousman is not a new name to any Gambian right now. A very young, promising Pan-Africanist, our own iconic. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. I am back again today. Of course, some of our guys already told me if we can do this program in our local language. But I will definitely do that. I would definitely prefer. My wish is always to do it in the local language. But then the other issue is I am not good at Wolof or other languages in the Gambia. So basically, I am a Mandinka, and I think it will not be fair to our other brothers and sisters who are not speaking Mandinka, and the message is for the whole Gambia, the youth as a whole. So I want to be very fair. I am very, very, they are asking for us to do this program. Probably I will ask my guest today, Ousman, if we will do it in Mandinka. The decision will be from him. But the pay is for everyone. It is in fact for our comrades, our fellow supporters, helpers also in diaspora, in Germany, Italy, everybody whom you are interested about the Gambia, or Gambian people. This program is for everyone. So basically, let us always remember there are people who also cannot speak Mandinka or Wolof, So I wish I can definitely do this program in the local languages. But anyway, like I said, I will leave that to my guest Ousman to decide for us. And I don't even know if Ousman is a Mandinka. Touray can be Wolof, it can be Mandinka. So it will not be easy if Ousman will be Wolof and I am Mandinka. How are we going to? My Wolof is completely bad. Yeah, but very soon Ousman will be here. You can all please share the video. Yeah. You are all allowed to share the video. If I think my volume is okay. I'm just waiting for the arrival of Ms. Ousman. Then we will definitely start the program. You can go. I'm sorry, I am suffering from some technical issues. I said my state correctly today, so I. Good. Again, I am going to start the show now. I think basically what I want to start with before the arrival of Mr. Touray, Ousman Touray will be about the, we also that last week, EU make a publication about some of the countries that, you know, they're going to put a sanction, they're about to put sanction on them, and which Gambia, of course, is part and parcel of. So, yeah, what do we know, or what do we think about this issue? I think this is just, as usual, EU always, their intentions is always African countries, African governments to always say yes to their people in terms of deportations. And I think that is not fair of the European Union. Of course, everyone knows the situation of the Gambia, you know, how Gambia and Gambians struggled the past 24 years, you know, for 22 to 23 good years, Gambia and Gambians were struggling, completely struggling in a very, very difficult dictatorship and tyranny. Of course, we had a change in 2016, you know, December. We all fought for this, and we got this change. Means the things will change. Of course, our partners, our international partners, will focus more on that. Say, like their usual say, that your country is free, there is no trouble, so you have no reason to seek for asylum. You have more or less no reason to seek for asylum. So, but then is this the reality? No. Gambia, our change, you know, our change really did not mean we have everything intact, and our change is in a very critical situation. Means, since the beginning of this new government, since the coming of Barrow-led government, what actually changed for the Gambians? What actually is there for the youth? What actually will motivate the Gambian youths to go home in a huge number? So basically, I think when we talk about mass deportations, when we talk about the mass deportation, you know, or when we talk about the Gambia has a government to accept youths in a huge number, I think the EU also is putting our government into more problem, because we all know the situation of the Gambia. How can a country like Gambia, with the current status in Gambia, how can that government receive thousands, hundreds of its youths from Europe? How is that? What are they going to deal with this huge number of Gambians? How are they going to reintegrate them into the country? How are they going to manage them within their society? These are Gambians which, you know, they have been traumatized. These are Gambians which, you know, they travel through this dangerous, notorious, illegal migration through the Sahara Desert, come to the Mediterranean Sea, struggle in Italy, find their way to Germany, Spain, and of other countries. All these difficulties, all these traumatizations, all this suffering that the Gambians encounter, they get to Europe, they try to, establish themselves, they try to settle, they try to reintegrate themselves. After a few years, you are asking them to go back because of a so-called change. I think our government and EU, they can definitely negotiate, they can definitely sit and talk about this issue in a very professional and in a very fair way. Not just EU jump, or not just European Union jump and say that you have to accept your youth in these huge numbers. That is not possible for the Gambia. That is not good for our country. That is not good for our economy. That is not good for our development. That is not even good for our change as a country. The change we have today, these youth that are in Europe, we are part of that struggle. We are part of that change. We've all fought it together with our politicians in the Gambia. So we are all part and parcel of it. The change in Gambia today did not mean that we or European Union can pack all Gambians and get them back to the Gambia in a huge number, no. But then the issue also is, it is not only about European Union. It is not only about what EU want or what EU can do or what EU demands. It is about our government too, to also look into priorities, to also look into what is good for their people, to also look into. For far too long now, about 3, 4, 5 years now, we counted up to 4 years, from 2017 to now, is 4 good years. What are some of the policies and programs that you put in place for such issues? What are some of the programs that are there currently? I am not talking about IOM. I am not talking about GIZ. I am not talking about ECOWAS project. I am talking about the Gambia as a government. For 4 good years now, do you have any specific project initiated by the Gambia government, initiated from our budget, initiated from the Ministry of Youth and Sport, initiated from the Foreign Affairs? Our own project, our own idea, our own policies and programs as a country. If we cannot have this, if the government did not do this, but rely on EU packages, rely on EU programs, rely on EU perspectives, this is always going to be the result. At some point, EU will push you to accept certain things from them. When you are not ready for it, or when you don't want to do it, they will come up with conditions. But if you initiate your own program in your country, try it at your own level. Try your own first, then go out, open a room of communication between you and your partners, being EU or any other country, European country. Sit with them, tabulate issues with them. Example, a classical example, when I was confident that negotiation between the Gambian authorities and Germans or EU can bring something, I got this confidence since Honorable Sidia Jata and his team were here in Germany when they visited here. Through that engagement, through how all those things went, when Honorable Sidia Jata and his team from the National Parliament of the Gambia visited the Interior Ministry of Baden-Württemberg, visited important stakeholders in Berlin and other ministries in Berlin. That engagement, that negotiation, that discussion hadn't been a process like this started 3 years ago. Today, the Gambian government will be in good terms with the European Union. Today, the Gambian government will have something that they can be proudly saying or telling to their youth in diaspora that, look, we negotiated this, we did this, we talked about this, this were our program, this is what we discussed. But that is the Gambian government saying that? No. That tells you that absolutely our government, they really need to speed up in their dealings when it comes to these integrations, when it comes to this migration, when it comes to these deportation issues. EU will tell you that. EU partners, European Union partners, ministries in Europe will tell you clearly, get in touch with them, that we, for far too long, we have been trying to engage your government. We have been trying to collaborate with your government. But it's never fruitful from their end. I mean, from the Gambia, the side of our government. What is so difficult for the Gambia government to program something, to build a, to initiate a project, a program, a dialogue for that matter, for the best interest of their people? These people will tell you that, Gambia is a sovereign state. Gambia cannot force German. Gambia cannot force EU. We are not saying Gambia. Nobody with your right mind will say Gambia. The Gambia can force EU to do what they don't want to do, or Gambia can force German or any other country. We are not talking about that. But the same EU, the same German government, the same European countries are telling you, they are always saying this. The Gambian government is not cooperative when it comes to dialogues, when it comes to issues like this. Gambian government can initiate their own program, talk with their own citizens. Example, from 2017 to now, YX has a citizen, has part of this group. I think my guest is here, Ousman. Yeah, Ousman is trying to connect, sorry. Oh, okay. Ousman, welcome. You are muted.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sonko, for having me.
Thank you for joining me, bro.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
It is definitely a pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you. I am
definitely. I'm really glad that you join us today, because we are all youth, and you are one of our iconic Gambian that everyone is celebrating today. And of course, the whole Africa is celebrating you today for your stand and your knowledge about Pan-Africanism, how you see Africa, the continent, the youths, and development for that matter. So I am proud today that I have you here, and I hope we're gonna make this discussion very fruitful.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So,
please, without wasting your time, can you kindly introduce yourself to our viewers, Ousman?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much to our wonderful viewers out there. As you said, my name is Ousman Touray from the Gambia. I was born and raised in Kiang. I know some of the Badibunkas are watching. So basically attended my primary and junior school back in Kiang, then later moved to the Combos, where I did my high school, university, and then move to Rwanda for some leadership training, then to Nairobi for a mentorship. But I'm basically back in the Gambia, planning to go on my master's.
So basically, currently you are in Gambia, and then your plan is to go back to Nairobi to start your master's program.
Exactly.
That's wonderful. That's amazing. That's amazing, Ousman. So someone told me this. I'm sorry, it is a private person. One of my followers told me this. How old is Ousman? Because he looks very young and very intelligent. I'm sorry that I'm asking your age, but I think some would be interested to know, with all these achievements, how you are getting famous and out there in the world. Probably some would like to know how old you are.
I thought they were interested in knowing how young I am.
Exactly.
No problem. Tell them that I'm in my mid-20s. I think that's fine.
Good. Yeah, absolutely. That's fine, bro. Okay. No problem. Tell them that I'm in my... Ousman, today I want us to focus more on about youth in the Gambia. According you and I, you will agree with me that we have a very youthful population in the Gambia. When you look at our population today, statistically, people are saying that nearly 60% of our population are youth. We also equally, you and I will agree that the Gambians youth, if that, to make it as a youth, you must go outside. You have to go and look outside. And most of us focus more in Europe, that we want to go to Europe. Europe is the solution, this greener pasture, Ousman, do you think that, what will be your advice, as a Gambian, as a youth, at our age right now? How should we think as Gambians? As new, we have a change. We were saying for 22 good years we were in dictatorship. We were in tyranny. People were saying that there is no chance in that country. People were saying that the country was so difficult. But today we are also proudly saying that, we together as Gambians fought battle against a dictator and tyranny, and he is out. The country is free. In one way or the other, some other new things, developments are coming up. What will be your advice to the Gambian youths today?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. And first, I just want to say one thing. Back in 2016, 2017, 2015, that was the time in which we have mass movement of people, youths to be specific, from the Gambia going to Europe through the Mediterranean Sea. And looking at this, these are individuals who are leaving the country not because they don't have skills, but these are individuals who are leaving because even with the skills that they have, they cannot have a decent livelihood. So we had a government from independence, we had a government post that, and now we are in a new democratic dispensation, or anyhow that it is put, quote unquote. The best thing that we have to look into now is the Gambian reality and the future of the country as a whole. One thing we must know, that there is no way that we can register the development that the Gambians desire in the absence of the participation of youths or recognizing the efforts of Gambian youths. Something that is very, very key is to understand that in 2020, for instance, we all know that there is COVID and etc., but yet around 50% of our GDP was remittances sent to the country by Gambians living abroad or diasporians. This tells the significant role that Gambian youths, Gambians in the diaspora, are contributing to the Gambian economy and to the lives of individuals living in the country. But one thing that is very, very paramount is, back like 10 years, 20 years ago, if we interact with people who were living in Europe, in America, and etc., you will see a single individual taking care of a whole family. But this is not the situation today. If you call a brother or a sister who is abroad, I mean, they're equally going through challenges. And that tells you that, you know, the Europe that people were running for, the America that people were running for is no longer. That greener pasture that we're running to go is no longer there. So the most important thing is to understand that we have to build things within. That is to empower the Gambian youths within the Gambia and provide that enabling environment to give the Gambian youths the skills, the opportunities to realize their talent within the Gambia and within Africa as a whole. I mean, it is going to be very difficult for one to condemn people from moving if there are no better options for them. My calling is for youths to understand that there is the need for us to take up challenges, to take up responsibilities. We don't solve the Gambian problem by running away. I mean, we can continue to move to wherever that we think will be better, but as long as we don't come back to change the things here, it is still going to be here. Like, we're going to live with those problems. So the most important thing is to say, the Gambian youths out there, the Gambian youth here in the country, one thing that we need to do is to come out and support a plan for our sustainable development, is to come and support initiatives at local grounds just to make sure that the Gambian get a dignified life within the country. These are things that we cannot borrow from anywhere. It has to come from within and it has to come from us. So to everybody out there, it has to be a sense of patriotism. It has to be a sense of awareness and also taking up responsibility as a Gambian in making sure that we can register the development that we want.
Definitely, Ousman, like you said, we have to take the responsibilities as youth. We have to believe in ourselves. We have to be part of the change. We have to also sacrifice at some level to get back to the country, or to even sacrifice to live in our country in order to be part of the change, or to be part of the development that we are asking for. Brother Ousman, some Gambians will still tell you that, or we will tell, like we always do. It's also difficult when we said youth have to come home, or youth have to stay, or youth have to believe in the Gambia, or be part of it. But we are not seeing any, some youth might also say we are not seeing any meaningful change in that country that can change the mindset of the youth. What is lacking, Ousman?
Yes, you know, one thing that is very, very important in our current or in our livelihood today is leadership. People need a sense of direction. And when we talk about that, we mean individual has to be visionary at the top to be able to tell us where we can go or what we can realize in the shortest possible way. And if we don't have this in place, it will be very difficult for youths to have a trust on programs or agendas that are present within our own societies. We have to look at development in a broader way. It is no longer just the media talks. It is no longer just people having the ability to say things or no, but we have to go back to our societies and look into our societal problems. The issue of poverty, for instance, has been one of the main reasons that is behind the mass movement of people outside of the country going out to other societies, even though they may be treated differently. But having a program that addresses poverty at a grassroots level, for instance, by empowering the local people through local initiatives and creating a market and etc. for individuals will keep many people in the country instead of them having to run away just to have a decent livelihood. For instance, today, most of the things that we do in the politics of the Gambia now is the mayor debates, it's the mayor talks, and this doesn't feed anyone. We are tired of hearing people telling us we are capable of doing this, this, and that. What we want to see is real actions that is engineered by Gambians in the best interest of the Gambia as a whole. So these are some of the things that still keep many youths away, and it can be addressed. It can be addressed in a sense that this is 2021. The Gambia is heading to the polls. We know that we have majority of our population youths. We know that the decisions that we are going to take in December 2021 is going to reflect the future of the Gambia for the next 5 years. It's going to be a decision that is going to affect generations of Gambians to come. So in one way or the other, this is the right time for us as youths to come together. Look at the programs. Let us look at the proposals that people are coming up with. Let us see the plans. Let us see strategies. Let us see a vision that build unity among the Gambian society. Let us look at agendas that builds up through development that addresses the societal problems. Then we try to get these people into office and give them chance to bring the development that we desire. We cannot just continue to have people telling us we're going to address this, we're going to address this, and yet no action has been taken. It was the late president of Tanzania, Julius Nyerere, who once said, the tragedy about Africa is that those in powers have no ideas and those who have ideas have no powers. But remember, we, the people talking here, in one way or the other, are the biggest contributors in the people who rules us through voting in elections and etc. So the best thing that we can do is to make sure that we go to the polls, is to make sure that we support individuals that have the interests of the country at heart. We support individuals and make a decision that is going to put the Gambia in its rightful lane. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that wonderful advice to the youth. Of course, the 4th of December, inshallah, the Gambians are going to the poll. So as youth, as Gambians, let us be mindful who to vote for. That's definitely a good advice, Mr. Touray. Ousman, let's also look at if you currently, when we talk about personally, through my experience or my engagement with the Gambian authorities, of course, the Minister of Youth, Foreign Affairs, and even stakeholders in Gambia or partners in Gambia. When we talk about youth empowerment in Gambia, all what I see is what I do in Gambia, what Chekifi program, which is a German or EU-sponsored program. These are all projects or programs that are initiated or these are brought from Europe or from EU to our people, So basically, my issue is I am not seeing our government or our institutions like National Youth Council of the Gambia, like NYSS. I am not seeing institutions or even government ministries designing their own program or initiate their own pilot project for youth empowerment in Gambia. All what I'm seeing is these are concepts, ideas. These are projects from European Union, from even ECOWAS, come to Gambia and give it to us with a package or with conditions or situations like this. Do you think this is the right way a government or government should take care of youth empowerment in Gambia?
I mean, that is why we really have to take serious steps as youths and know where we're heading to as a country and where we're heading to as a people. I mean, there is no country in the world that developed based on the intervention of outsiders. I mean, the development has to be genuinely ours, and by that I mean we have to initiate it, and we have to know how it is going to reflect the interests of the general public. You're very right. Most of these projects now, if you walk down the streets in the Gambia, you see the billboards everywhere advertising some of these initiatives, some of which are from the European Union, some supported by World Bank or IMF, and you have other initiatives as well from the regional bloc. But the question comes, what is genuinely the Gambian? And I mean, most of these projects are donor-driven. It means that someone out there, puts in a package and says, this is what we want. And it doesn't mean that everything that they're saying is going to be attainable. And in most cases, this happened because there is a disconnection between the project and the people driving the projects and the people whom they are targeting. Not everybody, for instance, will be interested. And if people don't see ownership in it, you come to realize that they do not, tend to respect the norms or pay attention on the values or some of the things or principles, for instance. And as a result of this, it affects a lot of issues in the Gambia and even outside of the Gambia, like in other African countries. One thing that is very, very paramount is we have to take up challenges. We have to take up initiative. We have to make things as ours. And once we do that, we will be able to fix the Gambia, we will be able to fix the country that we call ours. It is sad, for instance, because most of the people that are coming back are promised that if you go back to the Gambia, this is a particular initiative that we have taken and we are going to improve your livelihood within the Gambia. But how many of them today are successful through these initiatives? So that tells you that something needs to be done from the grassroots level. We can't stop people from moving, but we can make the Gambia a proud country and make its people proud. Let us be realistic. This is a country that has about 2 million people. This is a country that have fresh water as part of its river. This is a country that has sunlight. If you see, like almost 8 hours a day or even more. This is a country that have peace, that have unity among its people. Why can't we design things for ourselves and shape the development that we want? We are not landlocked. We have the opportunity to build good ports. We have the opportunity to create good market for people to come into the Gambia, invest, but equally to integrate within the regional blocks. But if all these initiatives are not taken care of, it still comes down to the point where Gambians have to run away from the country. And that is never going to solve the Gambian problem. It saddens everyone that in this period of time, we're still importing food, even rice in the Gambia, where you can just, grow rice at your backyard. But there has not been a proper initiative that is to address the issue of food self-sufficiency. There have not been a proper initiative that is going to address the youths in a way that they don't have to run away. They will be equipped with knowledge, with skills, and at the same time given a market to compete in the Gambia and outside of the Gambia with other youths within the continent. These are possibilities. Some other African countries are doing it. The question of why is this not happening in the Gambia? I mean, in a country that gained independence, you can make a comparison with countries that Gambia gained independence with. Countries have gone through war and yet they fixed their economy, fixed their countries, and now they are way ahead of the Gambia. Never experienced that. Look at the livelihood of the people. I mean, it's still sad and something needs to be done. So it's either a policy comes in to address it or the youths take their own actions. I've seen some youth initiative, individuals who have taken it upon themselves, opening up skills centers, giving other youths opportunities to realize their talents and etc. within the Gambia. And those initiatives are things that we need to empower. We have seen many Gambians who are rich living outside. It's good. It's their money. They get it. They can spend anyhow that they feel like. But I think the best way of investing is to invest in the life of the people that comes from the same home with you. There is a need for us to have everybody on board to address these issues. And then we can call the Gambia a proud nation.
Definitely, Ousman, with all these wisdoms you are giving, I think as youth, as a country, when we take care of such issues, definitely there is no way that Gambia will not move. Ousman, again, because we are concentrated on youth, and I want to look at, I want us to discuss, to me there is a gap between when we say youth empowerment. We are talking about Gambian youth, wheresoever you might be in Uganda, be in Gambia, be in Europe, America, you are a Gambian. When we look at the numbers today, Gambia, I can tell you clearly from records, according to Italian government, more than 50,000 Gambians are officially registered there. When you come to Germany, officially, according to the German president's Steinmeier's last visit in Gambia, he said more than 34,000 Gambians officially registered in Germany. When you look at Spain, we have more than 30,000 Gambians officially registered. I can give you correct statistics of all these Central Europe countries. Putting all these figures, Ousman, we are talking about hundreds of thousands. Ousman, Mr. Touray, when you look at this huge number, 90% of it are all youths age of 18 to 35. For 4 good years, when we have changed, because why I'm concentrating on this government, because this is the government we have hope on, all of us. Think that, okay, now we can change. Now we have to come together as a nation, as brothers and sisters, to develop our country. When you look at this huge number that I'm talking about, Mr. Touray, for up to today, I am speaking with you, Gambian government, they did not visit Italy to look after these youth, their conditions, their situations, under which circumstances are they living? You come to Germany, the same thing. For 4 good years, I am here. Gambian government officials has never been here for official visit to have a conversation with their people, to know their whereabouts. You go to Spain also, the same thing. So basically, the youth here is kind of, we are lost. We do our things by ourselves, like our own way. Like I want to develop my village or my region. I do this and this and that there. But there is no way that I can check into foreign ministry or their website or the Ministry of Interior, their website, to look into as a youth, as a Gambian, what can I do for that country? So basically my point here is there is a huge gap. When we talk about Gambian youth, we see there are youth in Gambia, there are Gambian youth in Europe. What should the government do to put these youths together, youthful population together? They have ideas. Some are studying here, some are doing, these colleges like here, they call it Ausbildung. Some are experienced, some worked. Even in Libya, there are Gambians, they are doing welding and other stuff. Probably if there is a good conversation between the government and with these youth, probably if there are programs between the Gambian government to set out these programs to these youths outside there, probably we will be convinced enough to say, oh, I am a Gambian, I am a youth. Of course, I know my country, there is no financial support, but then the government have these policy programs there for me. They saw it clearly, they explained it clearly. Then I will be proudly go back home to participate Don't you think this is also a problem? When you look at this huge number of youths, the government is not communicating, Ousman.
Yeah, thank you so much for bringing me, in fact, to that point. It is very important for us to know that whether the Gambia is doing it or not, there are some other countries in the world doing it, and it has paid dividend. I mean, you cannot have that percentage of your population outside of the Gambia, and you don't build a communication channel in between this particular community to the government of the Gambia. We have to understand that these are the people living outside of the Gambia, for instance. If you get to question them, like, why are they living? They will tell you that we want to solve some poverty issues in the family. We want to make our family better. So if the government have put up an initiative that was going to bring all these individuals within an organization sort of, or like a community in Germany, have a day in which, let's say every year, you pay a visit to Gambians in Germany, pay a visit to Gambian in Italy, pay a visit to Gambians in Spain, and etc. And even if you're going to Germany, for instance, let's say if Germany is the only country that you can go to, the Gambia government can negotiate with Gambians living in Spain, in Italy, to all gather in Germany for that particular visit. And in that, let them just outline one thing. What are they doing? What are the skills they have? What are the opportunities that they have acquired from those societies? And what can they do for Gambian communities? Before the Gambia, for instance, every year you've seen, the debt figures. We keep adding to our debt on a yearly basis. When you will see a group of Gambians in abroad will say, we want to raise a borehole for our community. In the next 3 days, the borehole, they've gathered enough for that particular budget. Imagine if there was a formality that brings all these Gambians as a community. How many projects can they solve at the local level?
True.
As a people? It's a lot. And again, another thing is that in Rwanda, for instance, they have something called the Rwanda Day. And you see their officials will go, either the president will go to different countries in Europe, in America, or even in Africa to meet who? They're meeting Rwandans.
Exactly.
And that gives them a sense of pride. Mm-hmm. That is why in all the big forums in the world, you have their president have either one or two wives sat there and speak with his own people. That is a strategy. Because if you do so, you're giving them an opportunity to invest back. You're giving them an opportunity to go back to the community and impact. So it is possible for the Gambia, for instance. We can equally look at something to address this particular issue. But again, to develop other policies that are going to build more relation, like a closer relationship between the Gambia government and the people of the diaspora. Now that we are talking about having the diaspora as a region of its own, and which is also something that is commendable, because it is high time that a stronger link is adopted constitutionally to make it more guaranteed. But in terms of trade, in terms of investment, this needs to be done, because even if the president is going to do it once, that time of recognition gives the people respect and dignity. It makes them feel that they are not forgotten at home. And also we are recognizing their efforts, their contribution in making sure that they solve other societal problems. It is more than possible, and I keep asking why it has not been adopted. I can tell you a similar thing. When Gambia gained independence in 1965, it was on the same year when Singapore gained independence. Singapore was led later on by Lee Kuan Yew, who was their first prime minister. And when he was asked, he said, because of the nature in which Singapore was, they do not have resources and etc. compared to other countries. Then he said they needed to build something, power and the people. And building the people was giving the people of Singapore skills, giving them knowledge, giving them a sense of patriotism, that even if they travel outside of their country, they still have a mind of going back and solving societal problems. And that is why if you look at Singapore today and you look at the Gambia, it's quite different. You can take another example. Post-Second World War, you look at how Japan was and how many other countries were. One of the strategies that they adopted was making sure that children or students are sent away to go and learn skills, to get knowledge. And at the end, they could come back, develop, and solve societal problems. We have seen other countries like Rwanda in recent years. A similar strategy is adopted. They have their students going outside of Africa, outside of their country, but they're solving problems in the country. They're coming back. And that is the essence of keeping track. Today, how many Gambians do you have that have knowledge, they have skills, they're contributing to anything meaningful at the global level, be it experts in investment, be it experts in the sciences, be it experts in technology, you name them. We are very small, but whatever that is significant in this world today, you have a Gambian there. But can we have these Gambians home without an enabling environment? It's another question. So there is the need to gather a data that keep tracks of Gambians outside of the country. We know what they are doing, what is their contribution, and how they can contribute meaningfully to the development of the country. Because we can't go without them.
Yeah. Absolutely. Mr. Touray, exactly this last point you talk about, we need to collect a data. I will tell you this, Gambia government currently with their partners, of course, IOM, they developed a national migration framework, okay? And in this document, which was just ready not long ago. In this document, the Gambia government clearly stated in this document that Gambia government did not have any data or they never make census on base how many Gambians left to this illegal migration or back way, some might call it. In the same document, they said, I will even share this document with you later. In the same document, they clearly said that the number, the figures that they are using there is from UN census that United Nations make about Gambia 2015. So basically, what this is telling us is if our government cannot take data of us as youth, how can they initiate developments on our behalf? How will they know that there is this number of Gambians that are they have the knowledge of agriculture or they have knowledge in technology or other stuff? How? So basically, this data collection you're talking about is very, very important. And this even reminds me of your country, Rwanda. I met the Rwandan ambassador in Berlin. Okay, I met him, for 2 occasions. We have been in the same podium discussion about African, youth in diaspora, to be specific, German. And in one of his elaborations, he said that, I fully remember, we met in Tübingen, I was in the same platform with him. He said that for Rwanda to be able to accompany their youths, they first of all look at data collection. They collected the data of youth. They know exactly this is the number of our youths, and these are their skills, And this is what they need in order to be part of the development that Rwanda needs. This was exactly his words that he said. So basically what this tells me, even in that podium, is that I think about my country. Because anytime I personally have someone dealing with youth here, if I call on the Foreign Affairs Ministry, or they are listening, or the Interior Ministry through their spokespersons, when I talk to them, ask them about some critical questions like data, they don't have it. They tell you, yeah, sorry, but they kind of even push you to other departments that you have no idea about. So basically, don't you think that it's right time for our government also to take this issue with seriousness, data collection, to know exactly what they need to do with youth?
Yeah, thank you so much. You see, you cannot adopt a development policy that is going to be impactful without getting the right data. This whole issue that we're talking about, if the government want to address it, the first step is getting the right data on knowing who are this Gambian community outside, who are the Gambian community within the Gambia, what are the skills in every Gambian youth, and what are their aspirations. These are things that can be identified through data collection. And once that is done, then you can have an informed policy that seeks to address the problem of youths in the Gambia. Again, one thing that is very, very paramount when it comes to getting the right data is at least you will have a sense of direction, but at the same time, you're giving the people the opportunity to take ownership. If you come up with any initiative, as long as they're informed by the realities, as long as they're informed by the people, then therefore they take ownership. And as a result of this, it makes certain projects more sustainable, and therefore it addresses the problems. But what we do is, in most cases, we're using outdated, information. We're using information that is not coherent with our realities. And once we adopt any policy, we get it wrong.
Yeah.
You see, we are in 2021. And I can tell you, this same issue happens even in academia. You will want to do research, maybe on assignments or etc. You go to an institution and ask for information, and they cannot provide it. This same issue is even at the workplaces, various ministries, even between the National Assembly, the executive, the legislature, the judiciary. People just have a problem with data. And you cannot build a country without getting the right information. I can tell you, in 2000, 2001, before the Chinese joined the World Trade Organization, they influenced Africa to form the China-Africa Think Tank Forum. And the objective of this was to conduct research within Africa, gather data, and once this data was collected, they know exactly what Africa wants, and this is how they dominate the African market today. If we want to move forward, we have to gather data about ourselves, and then we will know what initiatives we can take as Gambians and how the Gambia is going to compete at the global level. Remember, this is a very, very small country. We can't stop with Gambia alone. Then we are limiting ourselves. Our potentials can equally compete with any other society in the world. That should be the target. So knowing about the self is one thing, getting the right data and etc., designing a policy that addresses this problem, but it has to be owned by Gambians. Once we do so, then therefore we can save the trajectory for our development.
Very good. And I hope the government will definitely listen to these good wisdoms from you, my dear brother. And the other thing is, Brother Ousman, when we talk about Gambian youth, or when we talk about youth empowerment, when you look at the Gambia, it's sad to say, but that's the reality. We are all Gambians. Mostly, youths that have greater chance in terms of empowering, in terms of education, are youths that go through this educational system from grade 1 to grade 12. When they graduate, they will go to some college institutions or whatsoever. But also in the same Gambia, in the same society, through the same process of education, there are a lot of dropouts, by the way. And also, not only dropouts, there is another school system called this madrasas or Arabic school system in Gambia. You and I, you will agree with me, most of our youths, huge number of youths are going through this Arabic school system. Few years ago, when they graduate or when they go through this madrasas, they end up being village ustads or Quranic teachers. And these are youth. These are people that are part of our youth categories. These are people that should also be empowered. These are people that should they should have the same advantage like you and I, who went to college, university. But I think the system in Gambia is not catering these people, or like they are not giving them focus or the same advantage. I mean, the whole system. When you look at people, there are so many madrasas, small. In fact, when we talk about Arabic schools, good Arabic schools, sometimes they graduate, they will go ahead to university. But when you go to villages, you have these small madrasas, in Mandinka, they call them karagar, this where they just gather them without no basic system, something like this. So these are youth. These are growing up. They are part of our society. They should be part of the development. The government should invest. Do you think we're neglecting these people as a society, as a government, as even we as youths, forgetting that these are people that are part and parcel of us? They should be empowered. Do you think that the country will go just look by forgetting this huge number of youths in the Gambia that go through these madrasas or daras or Arabic school system? Mr. Touray.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you so much for that question. Looking at the school system in the Gambia, the madrasas plus the English schools and etc. At some point, they all kind of marginalize individuals. Very few escape the traps. And you see, sometimes it limits the people's potentials. It limits our speeds when it comes to being creative, when it comes to being innovative, when it comes to, getting to the right places where we need to be as individuals. We have many people in the Gambia today that end up being dropped out and etc. The school system is not doing justice. And this is because we inherited this school system from colonialism, and our officials never want to take the time to change, to understand that we live in a very, very complex world. People need, to be more creative, more innovative in order to get a decent livelihood. Let us be realistic. Most of the people that we are calling dropout today, you know why they left school? Maybe because they didn't understand a comprehensive passage.
Mm-hmm.
What does one comprehensive passage have to do with the success of a life of an individual? And today we've failed them. We've called them failures. We don't want to pay attention to whatever they bring on the table. The society rejects them. The family rejects them. The school system rejects them. And we have to look into all these things. Who sends letters nowadays? People use emails, not so. We use computer to do those stuffs, but we are still failing people at the school level because they cannot write letters. How about adopting an innovative way of teaching, giving people more skills and etc. You've made mention of the Arabic schools and etc. I understand that one of the things that happened is because the Gambia was, colonized by British. So upon even gaining independence, we still have to rely on them strictly. And that is why people coming from the Arabic school, we've rejected them. But one thing also I can tell you, a similar problem in the school system is what we have in the Arabic school. Many people go to Arabic school just because they want to learn Arabic. That is not enough for a decent livelihood. The Arabic school, like the English school, they must be all equipped to teach people skills, to give them innovative ideas, to help them being creative, to be independent enough. And again, the same opportunity should be given to everyone at the job market. Once we do that, then we'll be able to address the problem. You're right. I know of many individuals. When I was going to English school, they were in the Arabic school. We all graduated. But what happened? Most of them will just have to be what? Maybe just be the imam for the mosque.
Yeah.
Or you be maybe an ustaz at the community. These are good things, but it comes with something.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have something before you can do this. And that is a livelihood. That is a decent livelihood that gives you dignity as a person. And therefore you will be able to lead. But these are things that we get missing in our education system. People are going to school, graduating, and yet they cannot do things for themselves. People are going to school just to add to the problem of the society. Because if you graduate people who cannot create jobs for themselves, there is no market to give them jobs. They add up to the unemployment rate. And this has something to do with crimes. It has something to do with poverty. It has something to do with a lot of issues within our societies. And we have to address it. That is why I know the whole change requires a holistic approach, but the entry point is the education. People have to be skillful, but they have to have a good mindset on being patriotic, understanding that the society awaits us. Let our schools be solution centers. Let us run to academic institutions for sense of direction. When there is chaos, when there is a dispute, when we need a pathway, we have to be able to rely on our scholars, on academic institutions, on our government, on the private sector to give us relevant data on the way forward. Thank you.
Definitely, Mr. Touray. I think this conversation is going very far. You can even see that in the comments. People are even offering you now a job to advise President Barrow through the comment box. So, but anyway, we will let's also look at the ministries in the Gambia. All these things we are talking about probably should be the role of different ministries, depends on, like here, I'm completely connected to Gambians in Germany and Italy at different levels. Some will tell you, I see in a lot of aspects, even there are Gambians who even want to go, who would like to go home voluntarily. I want us to now talk about our society, how the society takes, the mentality of society about the Western world, about this greener pasture. Some Gambians, here, if we believe it, we agree on that, Europe, the Western world, is ready to say bye-bye to a huge number of Gambian youths, being Italy, being Germany, being Spain, anywhere, to be specific European Union. Germany alone is looking ways and means how to deport more than 2,600 youths to 4,000 youths. But these are sovereign countries like Gambia. They can say, we don't need your youth in our country. And at some point, if there is no way to wait, if they want to return them back to your country, they will go. But then, the point is, if they are in Gambia, they should be catered for. They should be looked after. We should look how to reintegrate them within the society, within the country, to reintegrate them. If the ministries are not bringing any solution to this, or they are not even publicly telling Gambians, we the Gambians, that what programs they have for these youth, who will come home or who are even in Gambia. Ousman, what will you advise our ministries to look into this migration dilemma that is going on currently? Because at some point, either come home at your own will as a semester they call it, or deported, or voluntary return, or whatsoever. At some point, it's our country. And at some point, we will go home. We will go, either in a good way or in a bad way. But then, come there now, you have to be in a system that is suitable for you, in a system that you will see a chance, in a system that will already have a platform. You will know what to do. If you go to other countries, you know exactly what is there for you. You know exactly what are the chances, possibilities. What would you advise our government when it comes to this reintegration of Gambian youth in the Gambia?
Yeah, I mean, thank you so much, bro. One thing that we need to understand is these are not people coming from outside. No, these are people coming from us. These are Gambians who have took through the journey, put their life at stake just to make sure that they get something for their family, for themselves, and for the society as a whole. But we have to understand that our governments in the Gambia and in Africa, all of them have to work on one thing: getting power, getting influence at the global level. As long as our leaders continue to beg, our people will always be differently profiled. Our people will always be, marginalized. They will always be disrespected. I mean, it's sad to see individuals being forced to come back. But because we have not taken a proper initiative to address this particular issue. And again, a big communication has to be done at the societal level to tell individuals that yes, because our government have failed to address this particular issue, the issue of deportation is occurring. And even if it is going on, this is how individuals have to be treated. This is how individuals have to reintegrate in the society, because some of them are affected. They're badly affected, in fact. They will come, they find it difficult to even walk outside the streets. They will come and even finds it difficult within or to integrate with people, to live with individuals. We have to solve all these issues, but we have to make sure that we first recognize individuals as brothers and sisters, build love among ourselves. And for the ministerial level, you see, people have to understand that ministerial positions are not for politics. They are for work. You see, Let us leave politics to the president and for the candidates. Put people that are professional, people that are work-oriented, people that see results in various ministries. Let them get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
That is what we're looking for. These are work positions. All we want to see is results. But, you know, if you hire individuals based on different lines, selfish interest and etc., it makes it very difficult. So it is important for us to know that we have to reintegrate, we have to reunite, we have to build love, we have to understand the situation through which these individuals go through. We have to comfort them, give them peace, support them while they're here as a family, as a community. But the government equally have a responsibility, and that is getting them the right jobs, getting them the skills. And I can tell you this, most of the Gambians that leave this country go outside of the Gambia, sometimes their potentials are even limited. Imagine a professional carpenter will leave the Gambia, go to Europe, and cannot have the opportunity to be maybe a carpenter. The individual will have to go and do something different. And it goes on like that. You have people that have been to school, they've gotten themselves, you know, degrees, they have skills, they have knowledge, but yet the situation here denies them to stay. So they're running away, even if they're going to get better income, but they're still not doing the things that they love doing. So this undermines their potentials, it undermines their talents, and these are things that we can work on for a better society.
Brother Ousman, I know you are going out of time. This will be my last question for you. You know, and then I will leave you to say goodbye to people. You know, because I know you're, of course, you're busy engagements. You know, and you don't have that much time anymore in Gambia. So basically, what my last point would be about still talking about the mindset of Gambians. You know. And we also talk about the in your this last point, you even said about ministry positions to be for work, not for politics. Ousman, Gambia, for far too long now, when people are working, or when we the youths, let me put it this way, we the youths, mostly in the Gambia, if you want to be hired certain job within the government, you have to be part of a group, or you have to be supporting a particular political atmosphere or a group as a youth. Like we see, during the time of Jammeh, you either have to be a fan, a lover, a supporter, be part of the Green Youth Movement or APRT or whatsoever. And come to this government again, we see most likely for you to have a chance to work as a youth, to put your knowledge, to invest your knowledge, your experience in that country, for government to even appreciate, you have to be supporting the agenda of the current government, political whatsoever. Is this fair for the youth? I think when we talk about youth empowerment, when we talk about development, when we talk about realities, we should not be judged as youth. We should not be judged by any government. I mean, any government, being the last, the current, and the next. We should not be judged with our political affiliation or our grouping. What would be your take? What say you in this whole thing? This is my last point for you, brother, Mr. Touray.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I wish I have enough time to stay with you, but as you said, I have other engagements. So I'm already out. But as I was just trying to say, it is very important for us to know that leadership is one thing. Getting a vision is another thing, but also getting it to the minds of the people is the real work. And it is not about political affiliation. If you're a Gambian, political parties are, they're founded by Gambian. Why can't you just support any political party that you want to? But when it comes to work, that has gone beyond politics. People don't have to come to the workplace with their party agendas. People don't have to be hired based on party lines. We need experts, we need results, we need people that can get the job done. And to do that, all the youths have to be on board. But for them to be on board as well, we have to understand that Gambian youths and Gambian women suffer the most in this country. When it is the time for campaign, I don't know if you have been in the Gambia for the past elections. You will understand that almost all the political parties, you see women from the remotest part of the Gambia in different villages will be going, shouting, running, with no water, no good food, shouting for one individual. Likewise, the youths. And if these people are given chance, it is the same youths that are being marginalized. I've always said this. Here in the Gambia, politicians don't pay tuition fees. No. So it is unwise for an individual, your parents to sacrifice a lot in you, and you just gave it up because of a selfish politician. It doesn't work like that. And the same thing is what we see in different societies. We've seen instances where people are only in certain workplaces because they support one political party. It doesn't make sense. We have to give the job to people that can do it if we want our country to prosper. Time for politics, let's do politics. When it's done, let's move ahead. But we have to get the job to people that can do it, not hiring based on party lines, not hiring because we are relatives, not hiring because we were classmates. No. We have to give the people the opportunity to work. We have to give the youths the opportunity to be in workplaces, to empower them, but also to give them the chance to compete with youths across the continent. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Touray. And it's a pleasure I'm very, very glad the conversation is going so fine. People are commenting and like I said, they call you all sort of names here, president, advisor, African president. They call you all sort of names. You can go by the comments later. So I will, you can say bye to people and give your last advice and say bye-bye. Till next time again, brother. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This is, one of the best moments for me because at least you've given me the opportunity to interact with Gambian brothers in the diaspora, which is very, very important. We have suffered a lot. We have been disconnected. We have been, treated differently. But there is the need for Africa to get back to its developing lane. There is the need for Africans to unite. Build love among yourselves there. As Gambians, you are not competitors in Germany, no. You are not competitors in Italy or in Spain or in Europe, in America, wherever, no. Your brothers, your sisters, you're a family, and a community awaits you. We await your service. We look forward to seeing you in the Gambia integrate. We look forward to seeing you here with a better Gambia. we know that, all of you are there for a mission. You're all there because you want to solve certain things. We hope that we will be with you together in that, and we will solve it collectively. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much, Ousman. You can have your leave now. Thank you so much. I will call you later. Thank you very much. Till next time.
Right.
Oh, my viewers, I think you all enjoyed the conversation today with our able brother, Mr. Touray. Ousman is a great young, iconic Pan-Africanist. Gambia is proud of him. The whole Africa is proud of him. I think I will stop this program today here. It is really a pleasure to always bring Gambians and, of course, stakeholders to this platform to talk to them, to discuss with them. We look together. This will be a continuous conversation. This is all what we need as youths. This is all what we need to inform ourselves, to inform our people, to help our people to be aware of certain things, and of course call on the attention of our government and our the civil servants, the different ministries in the Gambia. So being the case, I will leave you people now with our Gambian German-based artist called Jalikeba. His track called Bagway. Thank you all, and please, all of you, I ask all of you to sign this, to share the video. More than 100 people were watching, so please share the video so that all our brothers and sisters, it can go viral. The message of Ousman Touray is very, very important. So please, you all share the video. It would be very nice if you all share the video so that we can inform our other colleagues, our brothers and sisters who did not have the chance to be here with us today. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Please all share the video.